Well, back to our lead story at Fox News Alert, the deadly terror attack in Turkey, with investigators now trying to identify the bombers and piece together how the attack unfolded, pouring through surveillance video and interviewing witnesses today. And while the Turkish government is blaming ISIS, the Islamic State has not yet claimed responsibility. But the terror group rarely does that for attacks in Turkey. Joining us now, Jonathan Schanzer. He's the Vice President of Research at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and former terrorism analyst at the Treasury Department. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So do you believe that ISIS was responsible for the attack?
Well, right now, that is, I think, the prevailing assumption among the Turkish military and intelligence, and I think it's also the assessment of the U.S. right now as well. The attacks bear the markings of what we saw in Brussels back in March, with 3 different attackers, first using assault rifles and then self-detonating. We've also seen reports out of Turkey that 20 days ago there was a warning issued about potential ISIS attacks in that country, including on the airport. And so, again, right now it looks that all signs are pointing toward the Islamic State. And
this is nothing new. There have been, 4 other attacks attributed to ISIS in 2016 that have taken place in Turkey, in fact. Tell us what you know about this possible Chechen connection.
Well, there have just been rumors that have been floating around in the Turkish media that there may have been at least one foreigner involved, which again point to the possible involvement of the Islamic State as opposed to the PKK, the Kurdish separatist movement that has also been waging attacks against Turkey. So seeing that possible foreign presence is just yet one more indication that this was potentially an ISIS attack.
I want to talk a little bit more about this report that you co-authored. It specifically deals with the problem of ISIS in Turkey. In fact, it's called Bordering on Terrorism, Turkey's Syria Policy and the Rise of the Islamic State. So to you, I read through this, and there's a lot of interesting material here. One of the things, you attribute the rise of ISIS to the lax border policy there in Turkey.
That's right. I mean, we've watched this over the last several years, that the Turkish government had a goal, and that was to topple the rule of Bashar al-Assad in Syria. This, of course, I think should have been American policy as well, but America's policy was not to allow for the jihadists of all stripes to cross over the Turkish border. We've seen not only people crossing over, but weapons, cash, the sale of oil, the sale of antiquities back into Turkey. So in other words, ISIS and a range of other jihadi groups really benefited from Turkey's lax border policies. And one of the other things that we noted in that report was that as a result of this activity, that we began to see pockets of individuals who were sympathetic to ISIS growing throughout Turkey, not just on that eastern border, but also in places like Istanbul and Ankara, the capital of Turkey. And so there was real concern that there would be potential blowback as a result of Turkey's reckless policy with regard to Syria.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Turkey, now they have at least opened up their air bases to U.S. forces, but a couple of other things happening around this same time. Turkey seeking to improve relations with Russia. Russia, of course, backing Assad in Syria. And then just this past Tuesday, the announcement of the deal with Israel after 6 years. So all of that happening perhaps not coincidentally.
No, I think actually if you take a step back and you look at Turkey's foreign policy, the president of Turkey, Erdogan, has really been more of an authoritarian over the last several years. He's really, I think, stifled democracy in that country. And in the process, he's also reached out to a wide range of Islamist groups, which has really caused a lot of concern among the West here in the United States as well. And so there was, I think, an assessment made by the Turkish ruling elite that they needed to pivot back toward the United States, pivot back to the West, and try to solve some of these problems which had really isolated Turkey over the last couple of years.
Perhaps a little too late. Jonathan Schanzer, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.